Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions. How do I record an episode? How do I get my show into all the apps people like to listen? How do I make money from my podcast? Well, the answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. When I started using Anchor to do my podcast, it was so extremely easy that I haven't even bothered to look for another app to use. I love this app. It's the only one I deal with, the only one I even recommend, period. I recommend you get on there ASAP. If you want to start a podcast, this is definitely the place to go. It's easy. You can drive around and record. You can sit in your basement and record. You can do it anywhere. It's fantastic. So if you've always wanted to start a podcast, make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start, anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast. Hey, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is Adam Rich from the Really Rich Podcast. And listen, I've talked before about perspectives and positivity and negativity, how I believe that they're perspectives. It's not something you're either born with or that you're not. It's personally for each I'm like flubbing up my words here, but for each and every individual, every single person on earth can be positive or negative depending on how they want to see the world. And you have to, even if you've been from a very negative household, very negative people around you, you have the option to not let what they think or how they think affect the way you think. And let me give you an example. Like there's so many people that if you're surrounded by people that are negative, it's so easy to let that rub off on you and start being negative with them, start complaining about things and start being unhappy. It's super easy. And unfortunately, the best way to end your negative atmosphere is to get away from them. And it sucks sometimes because some of these people are very good friends of yours. Some people are like family. Sometimes it's a spouse. Sometimes it's your kids. And I don't mean get away from your kids, but personally, I think if your kids are negative, they're probably getting that from their parents. It might not be you. Maybe it's the mom. Maybe it's the dad. Maybe it's friends at school. I don't know. But what I do know is this. When you wake up every day, every time that you wake up, you should understand. Now, we don't always think about it right away, but you should understand that you should be grateful to have an existence. Because listen, I would never want to see anyone end their own life ever. I think that's awful. I think it's horrible. I've had that in my family. I hate it. I don't want to see that from anybody. But if you wake up every day miserable and you're not at least if you're not at least happy that you're alive, the alternative is you do have the option to not be alive. You have that option. It's not like it's impossible to die, right? Or to be gone. And the point that I'm trying to make with this, I don't want to bring this up to give ideas, but my point is you should never, ever, ever think about taking your own life. And sometimes it's not in our control. Sometimes we have personal demons that we're battling. Sometimes there's mental issues. Sometimes it's just, there's only so much you can do in those circumstances. But what I'm saying is, I don't think people would be as depressed or as miserable if they actually stopped and thought about the great things that are in their life instead of thinking about all the bad. Because the bad is always going to be there. There's always going to be good things that happen. There's always going to be bad things that happen. But the reality behind it that most people do not think of is you choose what you want to look for. All right? Every time something bad happens, You can look at that as it's a bad thing, or you can look at it as what good may come from it. That's always an option. Like, for instance, I know so many people that have a car, a truck, some kind of a vehicle, and they're just not happy at all with that vehicle. And they're like, oh, I want a new car. And I'm like, well, what's wrong with yours? And they're like, it's just old. I want a new one. That's a negative perspective. A positive perspective would be, man, I'm grateful that this car is still running, that it's still able to get me from A to B, that it's still, maybe you got to put some dollars into it, but what's the alternative is an expensive car payment. And listen, if you have more than enough money and you can easily afford to buy a new car and you're not happy with your car, then go buy another car. But the problem is I see so many people that can't afford to do it, or they can barely afford to do it, and they don't need to buy another car. They just choose to. And then all of a sudden it puts themselves in a financial situation where they're miserable, or they're broke, or they're struggling to just get by paycheck to paycheck. And you should never choose to live like that. If you can avoid living like that, why would you choose to do that? But the problem is like, we live in a society now where everyone's trying to keep up with the rich people, with the fancy people. Everyone wants to have what the Kardashians have. Everyone wants to have what the actors and athletes have, like all this money, what Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and Bill Gates have. They want all that shit. And the reality is, you have to work so incredibly hard to stumble into that kind of financial wealth that it's almost impossible. I mean, those three people I named are three people out of billions in the world. Now, yes, there's more billionaires, but what do you think there's more of? Do you think there's more billionaires or more poor people? Do you think there's more billionaires or more homeless people? Like, there's a ton of fucking poor people. There's not quite as many homeless people, but there's a fucking shitload of homeless people in the world. There's a shitload of homeless people in each major city, let alone the world. So it's way easier and way more common to be poor than it is to have billions. But what we see people do all the time, I run into this shit all the time, and I wish that I could just force them to not, to think about this stuff, because everyone gets $1. They already have an idea of how they want to spend it. That's almost everybody. You may not be like that personally, but almost every person on earth feels like, when I get $1, what can I do with this $1? And I've had so many people tell me, well, I work to make money. There's a reason I go to work every day. It's to make money. And I don't make money for nothing. I make it to spend. Yeah, but you don't have to spend it today. You don't have to spend it all right now. Like, we don't get a paycheck and then immediately go spend exactly what that paycheck is. You don't have to. And smart people will budget their money, but you know what happens? Everyone that's not living super rich, super wealthy, almost everyone wants to act fancy. They want to buy nice shoes or nice jewelry or nice clothing or a nice car or a nice house. And the reality is, do you need that? Because if you're looking at it as, I don't like my car, I want to get a new car, I'm going to ask you, well, do you need a new car? Because listen, right now I paid off, recently, for anyone following the show, recently I paid off the truck that I drive, and I was super happy about that, just because, and it was a cheap payment too. I bought a used truck from my parents. It was my dad's truck, and I was paying on it. And now granted, it was only $100 a month. So people, if you can shit on me you can say, it wasn't free. I know people are like, oh, your dad probably gave it to you. No, he didn't. I had to pay money. It wasn't a lot. It was only $100 a month. But I was only paying $100 a month because I was trying to save my money other places, instead of just going, okay, well, I owe a total of $5,000. Let me just hurry up and give $5,000. No, I did it slowly. I budgeted the money because I was trying to save in other places. I was trying to build my podcast. I was trying to buy things that I needed for my family. I just had a daughter a little over a year ago. So over the last year, I didn't want to spend extra money in a month if I didn't have to, because I had other expenses. Now, I also wasn't living paycheck to paycheck. Could I have spent more every month? Absolutely, I could have. I didn't want to. Instead, I was spending money trying to help my wife buy all the groceries, because my wife is doing she's part-time work now. So I'm I'm almost the sole breadwinner, so I'm trying to pay for almost everything. She does have a brand new car. And that's the fun part about it for me, is that I made sure that both of us could have used a new car. I mean, my car is a 2011. Hers was a 2007 until I got her a new 2019 Equinox last year. So I could have gotten myself a new car because mine was 8-9 years old or whatever it was last year. But I didn't need a new car. She, on the other hand, had a 12, 13-year-old vehicle, and she needed a new car more than I did. So I could have been a selfish asshole and said, you know what, I'm just going to pay for my own shit, and if you don't have any money, too bad. You can buy your own shit whenever you save enough money. Or I could be a good husband, a nice guy, and a non-greedy person and help her take care of hers. And for the most part, she does make her own payments, but I pay all the insurance, I'll pay all the other bill, like every single bill we have is all paid by me. And I'm not saying it to brag. What I'm saying is I like being able to help my wife. I was raised, my dad taught me, you go out, you make money, and you take care of your family. Now, some people don't live like that now, and I'm not judging you if you don't live like that. Like, I have friends that, the man and his wife equally pay everything right down the middle. I'm not shitting on that. If you work that out with your girl and you like that, that's awesome. It's just my dad always constantly preached to me that, because that's what my dad did with my mom. He always paid pretty much all the bills, took care of all the major shit, and he tried to support my mom and me. And I looked up to him for that. I thought that was an amazing thing, that he was so not selfish with money that he would rather her have it than him. And I thought that's amazing. And he's still like that. And I think that's absolutely fucking amazing. Now, if you're not like that, that's not a bad thing. That's not shitting on anyone. I'm not trying to knock you. Even if you're a grown man and your wife is paying all the bills, that is a little strange to me. However, I'm not trying to shit on it. That's fine. If that's how you and your wife have worked things out, maybe the husband is working on building a business or a career and he doesn't have the extra money, or he can't work, or he's trying to focus on school or something. There's many things that go into it. But see, you can look at it as a negative. You could say, oh, well, the guy is supposed to support the woman. That's a negative way of looking at things. A positive way of looking at it is, man, that guy's got an awesome fucking wife to be able to not only pay for everything, but be okay with it. You know what I mean? Like, you should be, it's all perspective, dude. And perspective is what guides you to whether or not you are a happy individual or a miserable human being. Like, if you wake up every day and you hate going to work and you're like, oh, I have to go fucking I hate going to work and all this, that's a negative way of looking at it. If you woke up every day and said, man, I'm so grateful that I'm healthy enough and to be able to go to work, I'm lucky enough to have the job that's paying my bills, and that is a way of looking at things in a positive perspective. When you look at things as I get to do something instead of I have to do something, dude, shit gets so much better so quickly. And you choose these things, man. Like, I've mentioned this story before about I had a fiance, I had a girlfriend, fiance, we were together, we split up. Now, I could have looked at it as, oh no, my life's over, I don't have my fiance anymore, this is terrible. Or I could take the other approach, which I did, which was, all right, well, now God is making room for somebody better for me. And if you're not a believer in God, you don't have to say God is making room. Now, you just say to yourself, good, we were fighting a lot, things didn't work out, now I'm alone, I can focus on myself, my career, my hobbies, I can do whatever I want, and I can find somebody that fits me better. See, it's all perspective. It's not about finding the things to bitch about or complain about. Listen, we all got shit. We all got something that we don't like. Like, the job that I would much rather full-time podcast than go to my full-time job every day and then podcast in my spare time. But the beautiful thing is I'm also capable of doing both, which is fucking phenomenal, because I can work on my podcast that I love to do. It's my hobby, my spare time, my free time. I like it. I love giving information to help others. This is the shit that I want to do for a career. However, it's not going to pay my bills completely right now. I'm not that big. I'll gladly admit that. But the reality is, I get to be like I'm lucky enough to be healthy enough to go to a job 40 hours a week minimum. Actually, it's more than that minimum. It's like 41 and a half minimum. But anyway, I get to go to a job, a full-time job. I get to have a source of income that allows me to pay all of my bills, take care of my wife, take care of my kid, pay everything off on time, have zero debt, and still be able to work on a podcast that I can build in my spare time. A lot of people, when it comes to patience, this is a key. This is a big one. A lot of people will look at it as will look at their career or their business or their adventure or their vacation or anything, and they'll say, "Oh, this isn't going quick enough, or this isn't moving fast enough, or this isn't going the way I like. This isn't growing big enough. I don't like this. Maybe I should quit." The good thing with patience, though, is that you should say, if you like doing something, if you like what you're doing, then it doesn't really fucking matter how slow it takes or how long it takes for things to grow. It's a process. And if you enjoy that process, if you enjoy what it is you're doing, then you're not going to have any problem taking your time, building slowly, business, relationship, career path, financial situation, whatever the fuck it is that you're trying to accomplish. If you actually like what it is that you're doing, it's not going to be a problem. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to be, patience will not be an issue. Like, I see people dropping new podcasts and they're getting way more listens than mine. They're blowing up and they're going hard, and they're not necessarily bragging about it, but they're posting about it and stuff like that. And they're saying about how fast it's moving and how quickly it's growing and how much money they're making from sponsors and ad revenue and all this stuff. And I could look at it one of two ways as a podcaster. I could say, damn, that sucks that mine's not going that quick. I wish mine was growing that fast. I wish I was making more money. I wish. Or I could say, look, I like what I'm doing. My purpose is to bring the attention to mental health, mental wellness, to you building confidence, to helping you in your relationships, to helping you with your mindset, to helping you get a goal and a drive and a purpose. That's what I like. So it doesn't fucking matter to me how much money it makes. Of course, I would like it to make more. I want to make enough to where I don't have to go to a full-time job. That would be great. I would love for podcasting to be my full-time job. But it's not in the cards right now. I have a family to take care of, so I have to be responsible. I have to take care of my, going to work full time. But I'm also lucky that I do have a job that not only pays, but it has health insurance. We get a little bit of overtime sometimes, so we get extra money when we work that. I also get great 401k benefits. I get great profit sharing. I get a ton of days off a year. Like, there are so many good benefits about that place. So I choose to look at that. And I'm still doing what I love in my spare time. So it's a win-win. I also have a wonderful wife who treats me very good, who's great with me. We get along phenomenal. We have a wonderful relationship. And we together have a wonderful baby girl who's a little over a year old named Luna. And she's awesome. So it's like, I can't be honest, or I can't say to you that, you should look for the bad shit to try to drive you. Like, that is part of it, I guess. Like, if you're not, what you should be doing when it comes to wanting to move forward, there's a battle, the contradiction that I've heard with a lot of people where they say, oh, well, if you're comfortable and you're happy, you're not going to work harder. You're not going to bust your ass as much. And I think that's bullshit. Because look, dude, I'm extraordinarily thrilled to be alive. I feel like I'm the luckiest person on earth when it comes to health for me and my family, and how good we're doing, and how financially we're good, and how everything is just, it's great. I mean, there's moments, of course, that I have that are bad. Obviously, everyone does. I get cut off in traffic. I'm like, fuck that guy. I'm no different, but at the end of the day, like 10 seconds after that guy cuts me off and I say, fuck him, I'm good again. Like, I don't hold on to shit. I don't hold on to bad shit. I try to quickly get it out of my system because it doesn't help. Worrying about stuff doesn't help. Being angry about stuff doesn't help. And if you think that you have to be, unhappy, or you have to want to work hard because you don't like your situation, or that's the only thing that'll drive you is being not happy, is just wrong. You can have, as long as you know your purpose and you know what you like and you actually want to build it because you love it, that's all the drive you need. You don't have to fail miserably to become good or to get on the right path of focus and motivation. You don't have to fail. You don't have to be negative. All you have to do is want it. Like think about it. I mean, think about a relationship. If you just start dating a guy or a girl, and you really like the person, if you want that to be a long-lasting relationship, it doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to be angry. It doesn't have to be shitty. And you don't work on it. You don't work on your relationship with your boyfriend or girlfriend because it's so bad and it's so angry. You work on it because you like it. You cherish it. You want it to last. You want it to be there. That's what gets you to work at it. Now, it's easy to become complacent. I know that side of the coin too. I know it's easy to become complacent when when things are going too good, it's easy to get complacent. So what you should do is you should challenge yourself to do more, to be better. Anytime something's going good, go, okay, it's doing X amount of dollars, or it's doing X amount of business, or my audience is X amount of people. How can I be better? What can I do to be better for them? It's all perspective, dude. If your stuff's not growing, like I've gone through several times in the podcast career so far, in this year and a half to almost 2 years, whatever it is now, I've gone through like lulls where not shit was happening for months, and I've gone through spikes where in a week I've gained like a couple thousand listeners. And I was like, damn, dude, where the hell did this come from? And listen, if I could figure that shit out, I would have already done it 100 times over again. But unfortunately, these random spikes happen sometimes, and I don't know where the fuck they're coming from. But I appreciate them. And here's the bigger thing. What a lot of you may not realize about this show is I don't want more people, like more of an audience, because of financial shit or because it strokes my ego. I want more people because I think it's helpful for everyone that listens. I think if you're going through this stuff, some of you are super happy and super dedicated, super motivated, super inspired, and you're killing it on your own. You don't need the shit that I'm saying. You don't need to, if your confidence is through the roof and your self-esteem, your mentality, your positivity, your drive, your purpose, all of that, if you're maxed out at all that, you don't need to hear anything I fucking say. I mean, I'd like you to listen too, obviously, because I always think that it's good to get a little boost. As positive as I am, there's times where I'm in a dark place because of whatever. Maybe things are piling up around you. But like I said, I don't hold on to it. I guess that's the difference, man, is I don't hold that shit. Like I go to work, there's times where I'm pissed for like an hour at work, but maybe not even an hour, but close. We'll say half hour, 45 minutes. Maybe I'm mad at a situation and I'm stewing on it and thinking about it. I'm over it. I'm over it before I leave work. I never take that shit home. It's so fucking rare that I'm mad at work and I come home and take that shit out on my wife. Like I never take it out on her. I try not to. I might not be in a great mood or something, but I never come home and start yelling at her and be like, oh, fuck you, just because work sucked. I don't do that. I try to flush that bullshit out because you are never going to be completely protected against hearing the negative shit. All you can do is try to deal with it, analyze it quickly, and move the fuck on. That's all you can do. And I highly recommend doing it as quickly as fucking possible. That's the way to be happy, to succeed. Always look at everything in a positive. They're there. Every fucking situation you've ever been in. Positive. There's always a positive and always a negative. Everything. Every fucking thing you've ever done, everything you've seen, everything you've been a part of. There is always a great way to look at it and a bad way to look at it. The beautiful thing is you get to choose. But you got to try. It's got to be an active concern of yours. You're not just going to automatically go into that. Maybe after a long time, maybe after a lot of practice, and maybe after, I've found that the older I get, the better I get about being positive. When I was younger, I used to be really shitty. I used to be really negative about a lot. But then as I got older and as I had better influences, been around better people, and I've realized some things, we always learn as we get older. I've learned that being negative and worrying and bitching, it does nothing. It does nothing for you. It just makes you look like a crybaby, and it makes you get into a bad fucking place. And the only one that gets really affected by it, well, is you and the people closest to you if you let that shit pour out onto them. So just be very conscious about what you're doing and what you're thinking about. If something bad happens, it's okay to immediately go into bitch fest. That's okay. Like, I do it too. Like, sometimes you just got to rant it out, let it out, and then move on quickly and you're good. But don't hold on to it. Don't let it ruin your fucking day or your week, your month, your year, your life. It's not helpful for you ever. It's always best to just take the approach of, okay, this is what happened. This is what we're dealing with right now. It is what it is. Good, bad, ugly, doesn't matter. Now start focusing, get your head wrapped around a game plan about how to move forward. How can this be beneficial to you? What, out of all the bad that has just happened, what kind of good can you find? And I mean, challenge yourself to it. If you really think that whatever situation you're in is nothing but bad and there's no good that can possibly come from it, challenge yourself to find something good, because it's there. Sometimes it's just deeply, deeply hidden by the bad. You know, there's obviously, listen, somebody close could die around you, right? That's like the worst case extreme. Somebody could get really sick or injured or just suddenly pass away, and it can be devastating. It is devastating to lose someone you care about. It's always devastating. So it's extraordinarily challenging to find anything positive. But if say this person that passed away was sick, right? Then you can look at it as, at least now they're not suffering anymore. At least now they're moved on from the pain and the suffering and the sickness that might come with what their situation was. And listen, sometimes it's extremely difficult to find anything. Sometimes it seems like there's nothing positive that can possibly come from it. And I'm not saying that there's something good from losing a loved one. What I am saying is you can find the things to focus on that may be more positive, like good memories that you had with this person, things that you may not think about every day, things that you may not even remember so much. But when you lose somebody close to you, all of a sudden you start reminiscing of good things that you've gone through. And it can bring tears of joy to think about all the good that you had with this person. That it's not going to bring the person back. It's not going to all of a sudden make you go from being sad and devastated to celebrating in, joy. But there's always, but my point is this: if somebody passes away that you care about, thinking about only the bad things is not going to bring that person back either. It's not going to make them better. It's not going to bring them back. It's not going to make you feel better. It's only going to compound the already awful taste in your mouth. It just is. So there is no good way to approach. Listen, I'm not trying to pass over this like it's easy. All I'm trying to say is, you being negative and thinking, bad thoughts and dark thoughts and sad thoughts is not going to make anything better. It's not going to change what has already happened. So all you can do for your own sake, for your own psyche, for your own mindset, your mentality, for your own well-being and peace, is to try to think of the good that existed when you had that person in your life. Right? Like I said, there is not a good thing that happens when you lose somebody you care about. But what you can do for your own peace of mind is focus on the good that person brought your life. That's all you can do. And listen, that's like the worst extreme case. Like, if you stumble upon an illness or a sickness that a doctor says is impossible to beat, you can either you can either listen to that and just lose all hope and fall into deep depression until your time's up, or you can think to yourself, I'm going to beat this. I don't care what this doctor says. You know how many doctors have been wrong? When they diagnose you with something that seems terminal and like there's no hope, people have survived doctors giving them the most bleak outlook ever. People have survived from that sometimes. So giving up hope when you hear the worst possible news about yourself or somebody you care about, giving up and being negative and feeling like it's over is never going to be helpful. What you should be doing, even if there is no hope, what you should be doing is latching on to every ounce of hope you can. And think to yourself, I'm going to beat this. I'll prove them wrong. Because here's what's going to happen. The worst case scenario is you still don't pass, right? You still don't beat it. But at least your last few months or years or whatever it is that you have left, at least you got to spend them with some hope, some optimism, some positivity, some happiness, some smiles on your face. And that's if the worst thing happens. But say you beat it, right? Say it's the worst, most devastating news you've ever gotten, and they say there's no hope, you're done, sorry, I wish there was something we could do. And say you keep that optimism, say you keep your positivity and your happiness, and you fight and fight and fight, and then you beat it. That's going to be the happiest you've ever been in your life. So to think that taking a negative, hopeless approach is somehow beneficial, it's not. And it's all perspective, dude. You can choose how you want to look at things. You get to choose that. Nobody can choose it for you. People can give you all kinds of news that can lead you one way or the other, positive or negative. But only you get to choose how you approach and live your life. Every ounce of news, every moment, everything that seems bad for you. The guy that was the CEO, I think he's in retirement now. I can't remember exactly what he's doing now. But the guy that became the CEO of Campbell's Soup, he had gotten fired from job after job, told he wasn't good, he wasn't going to make it, he's just not cut out for this. And he almost hit completely rock bottom before he started to work his way back up and eventually then became the CEO of Campbell's Soup, making God knows how much money. Just because you're told you're not good or you're not going to make it or it doesn't look good doesn't mean they're right. I've said this story before. Michael Jordan being, benched on his high school basketball team. His coach thought he wasn't good enough. Michael Jordan, the basketball player. Like, everyone on earth knows his name. I don't have to explain who he was. But his high school basketball coach told him he wasn't good enough. I mean, dude, people are wrong sometimes. You have to funnel out the shit that you're putting in your ears. If people are telling you that there's no hope and you're lost and you're never going to make it, things aren't looking good, it's a wrap, it's over, do not fucking hear that. It's not helpful. And guys, that's all, that's really all I got for you. I don't really know any other way to approach it. I don't want to just beat the same drum. I think you get it. It's all perspective, dude. And if you're surrounded by people that think you're never going to make it, but your passion, your love is to fucking go out there and try to make it, then keep doing that. Never let anyone talk you out of your dream. You can decide when it's over, not them. That's it, guys. Perspective. Wake up every day thankful. Wake up every day appreciating the day and the opportunity that is sitting right in front of your face. Not everyone has it like this. So don't look at your good situation as a shitty situation just because you're comparing it to somebody that might have it a little bit better. Look, if I compared my yearly salary to LeBron's, I would have probably ended my life a long time ago too. But you can't do that stuff. You can't think of such a negative, awful approach to life. What I want to know is this, because here's what I'm going to wrap this up and I'm going to let you guys go. But what I'd like you to do is leave some kind of a comment. Find me, whether it's on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, wherever you find me, wherever you want to comment, even if it's leaving me a voicemail through the Anchor app. Please, if you feel that being negative is beneficial and living your life like a negative person is beneficial for you for somehow, please let me know. And on the reverse, if you feel like what I'm saying about positivity and approaching every situation with optimism is a better situation, please let me know that too. I just want to know why. Like, what do you think and why? That's what I want to know. And I don't think that anyone is right or wrong on this. I just want to hear your perspective, your angle, where you're coming from. You may be right. I may be wrong. And I want to know why. But that's all the time I got, guys. I love you so much, and I thank you so much for listening. Please get a hold of me. You can leave a voice message through the Anchor app. You can get a hold of me on Instagram at Really Rich Podcast. You can get a hold of me on Twitter at Really Rich Adam. You can get a hold of me on Snapchat and Really Rich, and YouTube at Really Rich. You can get a hold of me on LinkedIn at Adam Rich, founder and host of Really Rich Podcast, and on TikTok you can get a hold of me. It's Adam Rich. I love you guys, and I thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk about this. Or please let me know how you feel. Let me know where you stand, and we'll talk soon, all right? I love you guys. Peace. I'm out of here.